What is going on, guys? Hey, I want to come back at you and bring you a little more of the interview between Dennis Prager and Jordan Peterson. And I really, this is one of the better interviews I've seen. And really, pretty much anything with these two gentlemen in it is really good. So, but in this clip I'm getting ready to show you is about how we're shielding our kids and people in general in a lot of ways from the realities of life. And we're kind of teaching that in a lot of ways the world is fundamentally good and how that may be the wrong thing to do. But I'm going to let them kind of go through this and talk about it, and then I'm going to comment to it. But hey guys, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe to the channel. Thanks.
Metaphor in calling evil dark because it's actually so bright that people can't stare it in the face. The number of Canadian or American students at the most prestigious universities who could identify Pol Pot or even the Gulag Archipelago, let alone the Great Leap Forward in China, is so small. The knowledge of evil is now up to over a quarter of kids never heard of Auschwitz. It'll be a half very soon. It will be 3/4 in a generation. They don't know evil.
Crazy.
At Berkeley, I had a dialogue with two leftist students. My last question to them was, do you believe people are basically good? And they said yes. And I said, it's so demonstrably wrong, that belief, that there's only one possible explanation for why you hold it, because you live in such a good country.
Yeah, well, that's the goodness of naivety, right? And it's something that's encouraged. You know, you encourage that by producing safe spaces around people. You produce that by sheltering them. You want to preserve that childlike innocence, but once you're no longer a child, it's not childlike, it's just childish. And that's not good, to be a 40-year-old child and to think that people are fundamentally good. It's not that good is very difficult.
You know, that's one thing I wanted to add. Like, I think right now we're lying to our kids. We're lying to people in general, but we're definitely lying to our kids. We're basically trying to shield them, build a wall around them, and shield them from any kind of darkness out there. And what we're doing is we're actually fundamentally making them weaker in a lot of ways. You know, we're not exposing them to the realities of life. You know, nobody's going to use your pronouns, or not. Some people might, but other people are not. They're not going to be made to use your pronouns, and you're not going to. You're not going to be able to force people to say and to refer to you the way that you want to be referred to make yourself feel better about yourself. You know, I mean, and also we got to teach kids just regular things. I mean, it's like there's nothing wrong with white people or black people or anything else. But you know, the ghettos or the trailer parks or something, that might not be a good area, a good place to park your car and leave it, you know, because your car's going to get broken into. It's like, it has nothing to do with the race, but we kind of built this idea that, well, you know, I'll say one thing too, like my kids, I have 3 kids, and one of my kids in school, I was talking last year to his principal, and he got in trouble for doing something, and it was something that I wouldn't have gotten in trouble for, you know, 35 years ago, 40 years ago, but he got in trouble for this now. And I was talking to the principal, and I said to the principal, you know, when I was growing up and his age back in the 80s. We used to play Rambo on the playground. We used to pretend to shoot each other and make bang bang noises, and it's like, and nobody cared. Nobody cared. As long as we were hurting each other, no one cared. And it's like now there's, oh no, you can't do that. You can't make a gun with your hand and pretend that. No, I mean, no, a 10-year-old can't do that. And it's like, wow. You know, I mean, what are we doing? We're attempting to shield all these kids from everything going on in the world. And we're punishing them if they play what they see on TV. You know, if they watch a show or something and where somebody gets shot or there's a war, or, you know, cowboys and, I can't say Indians now, so cowboys and Native Americans. It's like, you know, you can't play that. You can't do that kind of stuff. And it's like, we're making our kids wrong for doing that. And we're punishing them. We're sending them to detention. We're suspending them from school. And it's all because of this idea of shielding them. And the fact we're making things worse.
It's by no means the default position. What's the default position? Entropy, catastrophe, tragedy, malevolence, and death. That's the default position. The good struggles up against that. That's no easy thing to manage. To think of that as intrinsic. It's an intrinsic possibility, but it's not something that you can manifest without faith and commitment. And the more faith and the more commitment, the better. And the deeper, the better. And it's the most difficult of things to do. And it's appalling to teach people the alternative. And I know that I can speak of this clinically. You know, the people who are most prone to post-traumatic stress disorder are naive people. And this is well known clinically. There's nothing about this that's questionable or unorthodox. If you believe that people are basically good and that the world rewards goodness with good in return, if that's your fundamental belief, that there's not really any such thing as evil, and you encounter someone malevolent, which could be yourself, well, that's often what happens to people who develop post-traumatic stress disorder. You know, it's very common that people develop PTSD because they've done something so incomprehensibly morally repugnant that it's damaged them psychophysiologically and they cannot recover. It's very common among soldiers. It's not what they saw, although sometimes it is. It's what they did. They have no framework within which to conceptualize it. If you have no theory of evil, if you have no theory of good and evil, if you have no metaphysics, and someone malevolent touches you, you're done. And so...
Yeah, again, man, that's why I don't understand this whole idea of teaching our kids that, you know, like in a way of like guarding them from the realities of life, you know, because we're sending soldiers to war, and these people are coming back with PTSD because of what they saw, but what they did too. I mean, if you're even if you don't see the aftermath of the carnage that you were involved with, what I'm saying is maybe you flew a plane overhead and dropped a bomb, and you never saw the result of that bomb. You still understood you did something, you did this. and you were ordered to do something, and it may have been for the ultimate good. I don't know. I'm not, but even if it was for the ultimate good. It doesn't matter. I think there's a part of a 25-year-old kid that is like, holy shit, pardon my language, but I did that. And I think that's what is so hard for people in so many ways is they don't understand what they are capable of doing and what others are capable of doing. And I think it's really important in a way to kind of, I know it sounds weird, but kind of look at yourself and realize that you are capable of doing some of these really horrible things. And the people that did these things that were atrocities, they're people. They're no different than you are. They may have been aligned with something different, darker, but they're no different than you are. And understanding that, I think, opens up something within you, and matures you pretty quickly in the realization that that darkness lies within you too. And that is something that we have to overcome. We have to unblock ourselves and overcome and let the light kind of shine through. But yeah, I mean, but I think we're doing such a disservice again to the next generation. I really do.
Telling people that human beings are basically good and that evil doesn't exist makes them ripe fruit for the picking by the malevolent. And there's nothing about that that's positive. It's mere cowardice masquerading as virtue. It's the devouring mother from the Freudian perspective. I'll keep you innocent. I'll keep you young and naive, and nothing will ever come to harm you. It's like precisely the opposite is the case in life.
That is why, by the way, I truly, that is why I truly believe that a 12-year-old at a traditional Christian or Jewish school is wiser and more likely to be happy than a secular professor of philosophy who is 50 years old. Just because I knew, I went again to yeshiva, so half the day in Hebrew Jewish studies, half the day in English secular studies. I knew at 6 people were not basically good because God said so in Genesis when he decided to destroy the world because it turned out rotten. So I knew at the earliest possible age people were not basically good. And it not only affected my Weltanschauung, my worldview, it made me happy because then I realized, wow, I'm meeting good people. Despite the fact that people are not basically good, I really do have good people in my life. Am I lucky or what?
Yeah. Well, that's a really good point because you see, when I said that it was a miracle that we can all sit here peacefully,
right.
Like that is how I look at it.
Right.
I think every day when I walk out into the world and it's not racked and ruins and flames and floods, that it's a bloody miracle.
Right.
I mean it, that we hold this together. It's not an easy thing to do.
Right.
And peace, to think of peace as the default position is a form of deep insanity. Like it requires work to maintain peace. And
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and stop the video here, guys. But yeah, I mean, I think to myself also too, like, what holds me on this earth? And I mean, if I go out and I get in the truck and I drive down the road, I go to the store, I go, get a drink, or I go just pick up the kids. I go pick up the kids. What is holding me here? I mean, anything could happen. You know, I mean, somebody could hit me. Somebody could shoot me. You know, my truck could break down, and I could get out and open the hood up, and you know, get mauled by a bear. I mean, you know, I'm kind of joking with that one, but you know, I mean, there are numerous things that could happen. It's like, what is holding you here? And I think there's got to be something else out there in a way, because again, there are so many things that could happen, even though the probability is low. There are so many things that could happen at any given time, and like Jordan Peterson says, like the reason why they're all able to sit in that room and without killing each other, without a catastrophe, without, it's like, yeah, but we work to maintain some kind of semblance of peace, of harmony, and that requires work. It's much easier to walk outside, just yell and scream, and we have to work to maintain good. And I think that's, again, what they're saying here. But hey, guys, if you would, please like and subscribe. Thanks.
You son of a